What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and we had a pretty big development with the U.S. men's national team with news today that Miles Robinson has ruptured his Achilles tendon, and that is pretty bad news for him personally. I mean, he had really established himself as a regular World Cup lock, and he goes down with an injury on a turf field, and now all of a sudden he's going to be missing out on a World Cup, something that he's trained for probably his entire life, and you really have to feel for that guy. It's a terrible injury for him, but we as the national team do have to respond to that injury because he had been a regular for us. So we do have to talk about our center back situation again. And there's been a lot of injuries, the John Brooks question, and just a lot of things to talk about. So getting into it first, I want to talk about what I think Greg Berhalter's response to this will be. And to be honest, I don't think it changes things that much, as when healthy, it appears that Chris Richards and Walker Zimmerman had been the preferred partnership that had gotten a lot of looks, and when both were healthy, that appeared to be what we really preferred to go with. However, Richards is currently out injured, and it isn't a long-term injury, but he will probably miss the upcoming fixtures in the summer, which means we will have to have somebody new play alongside Walker Zimmerman. So I want to talk about what Berhalter will likely do. I mean, there are a lot of players that he will call up, and I think the ones that will be are Aaron Long. He's returning to the team for sure. Let's be honest about it. I think Erik Palmer-Brown is likely to return. James Sands as well, but I think he's viewed as more of a midfield option, but he is listed as a defender. Cameron Carter-Vickers is said to be getting an opportunity with the team, and as well as that, I believe that Mark McKenzie will be recalled to the squad. That does leave John Brooks and Tim Ream on the bubble looking in, and to be honest, I think Tim Ream's more likely to get called in than John Brooks at this point, which I don't really agree with those decisions, but I feel like that's what it is. So in this group, I think that the initial plan is going to be to start Aaron Long alongside Walker Zimmerman, but I think that's temporary. So going into how Berhalter likes to set up his defense, I think it's almost kind of like a stopper and sweeper, like how he used to play when you're playing U9. I feel like that's how he kind of wants his center backs to be. He likes to have one center back step forward and win a ton of head balls. We saw John Brooks play this role really well in the Nations League, and Walker Zimmerman has been doing that in World Cup qualifying. And then behind them, we like to have a more speedy, athletic defender, somebody like a Miles Robinson, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie have done this role. And I think that Aaron Long is being brought in to play that sort of sweeper-style center back position. But the thing is, with Aaron Long, I think that he's lost a step of pace since returning from injury. His pace had been one of his best part of him as a defender, and kind of similar to Miles Robinson, he relied on his athleticism. And now, coming back from an injury, I don't think he'll be at 100%. And Mark McKenzie started over him this time last year. And since then, Aaron Long has had an Achilles injury, and Mark McKenzie has only gotten better, and he's finally established himself as a regular in the Belgian league. So, because of that, I can't see Aaron Long keeping this position. I feel like they'll allow him to start, but he already lost this battle before, and McKenzie's only gotten better since then. And for everybody's rolling their eyes oh, Mark McKenzie again. No, Mark McKenzie is a great player. Go back to, I believe it might have been 2020, where Mark McKenzie was the best center back in the MLS. He was ranked ahead of Aaron Long, ahead of Miles Robinson. There's a reason why we're so high on him. He is a great athlete. He has all the speed of a Miles Robinson, of an Aaron Long, and he's very talented on the ball, and he's two-footed as well. I really believe that he's a long-term partner for Chris Richards moving forward. His problem has always been his playing time, and that he had been rusty. And when we like to give someone like a Zach Steffen a pass, give Matt Turner a pass in December, keep in mind, Mark McKenzie hadn't been playing, and we threw him into the starting line to play against Mexico. Of course, mistakes are going to happen. And now that he is playing again, and now he's getting better, I think he'll do a great job in our defense. And I think Mark McKenzie's going to do a great job. So I do believe that he's going to be starting alongside Walker Zimmerman by the end of this group. Aaron Long's still going to be in the team. And I think for our last spot out of the four, I think Aaron Long will keep it over Cameron Carter-Vickers, or Erik Palmer-Brown will keep it over Cameron Carter-Vickers. Palmer-Brown's been doing very well in France. He recently came up against a PSG team and held his own, did pretty well. And I think with Cameron Carter-Vickers, an issue that I found with him is it usually takes him a little bit to adjust to new environments. he does, and he plays great. But, like, it took him a while to get going at Luton Town in the championship relegation battle. It took him a while to get used to playing at Bournemouth. It took him a while to get used to playing at Celtic. And I think he won't be given the opportunity after, like, maybe, like, one or two first appearances don't go perfect. Like, and he should be, but I look at Joe Scally. He apparently didn't impress Berhalter enough, so he's just been isolated from the squad ever since. So I don't believe that Cameron Carter-Vickers will be given that opportunity. So I believe that going forward, and since, like, World Cup squad's looking like it's going to be a 26-man group, I think that it'll be Walker Zimmerman, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie, Aaron Long, and Erik Palmer-Brown going into the World Cup. So that's what I think will happen with the Greg Berhalter team. And for me personally, I'll go into what I think we should do with the center back situation. And, well, I look at John Brooks and I look at Walker Zimmerman, and John Brooks is just as athletic as Walker Zimmerman is. They have the same pace issues. They're just as good in the air. And Walker Zimmerman has none of John Brooks' technical ability. Like, that's my honest assessment of them. I've just watched Walker Zimmerman get completely burned by a Philadelphia Union striker who's not going to be anywhere near as athletic as a Daniel James, as a Raheem Sterling, who are two players who we very likely could face at the World Cup, and I don't believe Walker Zimmerman's going to be good enough. So I would call in John Brooks, and something to remember about Brooks is he's only going to get better as the competition gets higher. Like, he does have issues, and I am not blind to them. But his pace is less of an issue as we face better teams and we play a lower line because we have to. Like, he doesn't... Just because he doesn't play very well against, what would it be, Canada, it doesn't mean he won't play well against an English team. An England team, I should say. And on top of that, I think an issue with John Brooks is his level of focus. Like, he's the type of player who will lower his level of play against a bad opposition and raise his level of play against a good opponent. And I think that is a negative. I think that's a bad thing for a player. But he's going to be at his best at the World Cup because all the eyes in the world are going to be on him. So I'm not too concerned about John Brooks in the World Cup. So I feel very good about having John Brooks in the team. I'd also call in Mark McKenzie for the reasons that I already said. Erik Palmer-Brown, talented on the ball, impressed at high level competition, and Cameron Carter-Vickers has had an amazing season and is viewed as the best Scotland center back since Virgil van Dijk. Like, he could end up being a very good player. And I'd also bring Walker Zimmerman. He's a very high floor player who we know what we'll get out of. He'll play at, I don't want to say consistent level because, like, he won't give you, like, a 7 every game because as the level of play gets higher, that'll drop from, like, a 7 to a 6 to a 5 to a 4. But he'll stay at the same level, I guess. And Chris Richards will walk back into the team into the starting lineup once he recovers. So, to be completely honest, like, I don't think we're going to be missing Miles Robinson that much. After an amazing Gold Cup, his performances have really left a lot to be desired in the World Cup qualifying. He didn't have the best. Kyle Larin destroyed him on one play. And I really don't feel like he's hit that Gold Cup level of play since then. And even in Atlanta, he's not been having a standout season. His ability on the ball has not progressed. Like, his injury will give a lot more players an opportunity, and it might benefit us in the long term. And for everybody clinging to, like, the great Gold Cup performance, I want you personally to advocate for Matthew Hoppe to return to the team because he was by far our best attacking player. Like, it sucks that he has this injury. I'm wishing him for the best in his recovery, but we can make lemons into lemonade. So, yeah, that's what I think about our center back situation. Need to get John Brooks back to the team. Mark McKenzie is a good player. Just keep your faith in him. He's going to turn out good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Erik Palmer-Brown and Cameron Carter-Vickers can do. Yeah, that's all I really have to talk about. We'll see you.